Hey there, we're Cody and Christina and we are building a box truck into the ultimate DIY earth roamer. Last week we installed our max air fan, sound deadening, and Havelock wool. This week we get to work wiring, cutting, and fastening in our Nomadic Cooling 24-volt air conditioner, as well as our massive 1310 watt solar array. Enjoy. Today is a super exciting day. We are going to be installing our Nomadic 3024 volt air conditioner up on the roof of the truck. We're really excited to be working with them on this project. We do not have an AC in our van. We knew we wanted one in here. We've kind of just been going through the packing list, making sure we have all the parts. In here we have the threaded mounting bolts. We have all of the hardware. We have the DC to DC crimp connectors. There's heat shrink in here, the remote. They really kind of give you everything. This little box has the control panel. And then these are the internal mounting brackets, the 14x14 foam gasket, the metal 14x14 trim plate, and then the internal face plate. This is what you'll see inside of your vehicle, your van, your box truck, whatever it is. So we're gonna get everything organized and figure out a game plan. Now that we have the air conditioner flipped over, we wanted to kind of just check everything out, see where everything's going. We have the power cables, the control plug-in for the control panel itself. We actually saw Nomadic Cooling bench test this, so we know the AC is good to go. So what we're gonna do is take the wire that's running from our Lynx distributor and we're gonna wire it to the AC right now. Nomadic Cooling sends you the DC to DC connectors. They also send you the heat shrink. So what you're gonna need is your large gauge wire crimper. We're using 2 gauge wire. You're gonna need a heat gun and just your wire stripper. With the time to wire up the AC, we're gonna get to work stripping the 2 gauge wire that's gonna be running from our Nomadic 24 volt 3000 AC to our Lynx distributor. It was a bit of a task getting the stripped wire into the crimp connectors, so just be patient with it. And I actually did hit 3 crimps along the entire connector to make sure we had a solid connection. All right, so we've now finished up doing the wiring end of the AC. So we have the 2 gauge cable coming from the Nomadic Cooling 3000 AC with the butt splice connectors and all the heat shrinks on top, and then these are our 2 gauge cables. This is going to be running straight to our Lynx distributor. With the AC wired up, it was time to head outside and figure out where the AC is actually going to be installed on our roof. Thankfully, the metal trim plate that comes with the Nomadic AC is the exact dimensions of the cut needed, so we just use that to trace our cut size onto our roof. It was very windy and cold during the install, but we got it done. So we drilled holes into the corners of the cut so that we could allow the jigsaw blade to slide in, and we got cutting. And when it was time to finish off the steel studs, we again used the angle grinder, my least favorite task and tool, but absolutely necessary.
Yeah, nice.
Oh, one. So now that we have the hole cut and filed, we just wanted to see how the interior trim ring would work. So what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna slide the trim ring between the stud and the roof itself so that it's sitting up there, right at the base of the air conditioner still. So with the trim ring slid in, it literally fits perfectly all the way around the hole. All right, now that we're all trimmed out, Christina's gonna put the foam gasket that goes on the roof down. It has foam on the back of it, so she's sticking that down, and then we're gonna put some sealant around the edges of it. Sorry for the horrible audio, but once we got the foam gasket stuck down on the roof, we applied Dicor lap sealant around the edges of the gasket so it was waterproofed all the way around and adhered in place so it doesn't move.
I'm Nate Murphy, and I have literally just bought this van to show you how to build a van. We have made a really detailed course which will help you go from this to this. You will learn everything you need. We help you specify your electrical system, and you'll be able to access the community all building their own vans at the same time.
All right, so we're ready to put the AC up. The foam ring on the roof is sealing up right now. So this little strip right here just goes in the back of the AC. It's the same height as the foam ring around the hole. And this is what the weight of the air conditioner is going to be sitting on, is this one as well as the one around the 14x14 hole. Put it as far back as we can and as centered as we can. Cool. And then just press down. And here is quite possibly the worst filming we've ever done. It was windier and colder, and we did not want a camera on the roof. So I decided to wear the GoPro as we brought the AC onto the roof. After walking around with this super heavy AC in our hands, somehow getting it up the ladder on our Sprinter and onto the roof of the truck, the winds thankfully calmed down a little bit, so we were able to put a GoPro up there, and here you go. It took a few minutes of wiggling the AC around to get it perfectly lined up. but eventually we got it dialed. Just watch the wires as you lift the AC into place so they don't get caught under the weight of the AC, as that would not be good. So to secure our Nomadic AC with the metal support brackets into the base of the AC, we have our threaded bolt. The order for securing the hardware is have the head of the nut on the bottom of the bolt, so you're threading it with the flat spot going up. The order is to take your lock washer, drop it onto the base of the nut, and then your flat washer, drop it down like that, and then your flat washer is what's going to be sitting on the base of the metal supports. Now we're taking our support brackets. The flat parts are just sitting on your metal trim ring, so it's basically clamping this metal trim ring to the roof, pulling that gasket down, and then bolting the supports into the base of the AC and squeezing everything together. We kind of pretty much finished up where it's going to be at this point, but like with our fan install, we put a wood frame around the fan just to add more support. So I think we're going to try and see how we could do that with this as well, because the more support we have, the better. So we got to work measuring all around the AC, figuring out how to lay the wood framework, and work on cutting the pieces of wood out. And once they were cut out, we glued and pocket screwed the frame together for added strength. We finally figured out exactly how we're going to frame this thing. So we still have the metal trim ring provided from Nomadic Cooling. But what we did, since we did cut this stud, is something similar to our fan. So we have these two vertical beams pressing on the front stud and the rear stud of where the AC is actually sitting. And then we got a horizontal beam that's also sitting on the rear of the trim ring, pocket screwed it into the vertical beams, glued everything up, so we literally have both rear sides and the full rear of the AC supported to the ceiling, and it's strong. With the frame dry fit, we took apart the AC mounting brackets, prepped the aluminum roof for glue, and started applying adhesive to the wood frame, sticking the wood frame up on the roof, reapplying the metal brackets, and holding everything in place tightly. Alright, so the frame is all done. Everything is tightened up pretty good. Used my little wrench here. Kind of just did like 2-3 fingers tight. They made sure to be pretty adamant about not over tightening these things. So it's all snug. Everything is sitting super flat. It's all glued to the ceiling, glued to each other, pocket screwed together. I think this is going to add a lot of support because that AC does add a bit of weight. But the nice thing is our air conditioner is sitting on one. Obviously this one's cut, but 2 and now 3 full studs. This is how it's going to be staying until we start doing the ceiling, the overhead lights, all that stuff. We're pretty happy to have hit that in about a day's work. We did a half day yesterday, half day today. And now we're going to move on to finishing up our solar installation. Alrighty everybody, new day here on the build, new week actually. Christmas was just finished up yesterday, so we're stoked to get back to working on the truck. Today's job is to get finished, nearly finished, there's no way we're going to get it done in a day, but get everything dialed on the roof. So the fan, as you guys saw, is done. Next is mounting our rear 175 watt solar panels. We actually already cheated. We did the driver rear panel already. We needed to figure out a lot of things and we just didn't even want to bother filming that one. But we're going to film this passenger rear solar panel install from start to finish, show you guys how we did it. So for mounting all the solar panels, we're actually using these corner brackets from Home Depot. They come in all the different sizes that we need, and they're just a lot cheaper than buying proper solar panel mounting brackets. I think a 4-pack of these is like $4. That means you need to find the sorted hardware, the bolt sizes, everything on your own, but more time, less money, up to you. But basically what we are doing is figuring out where we need to mount these on these solar panels, and then we need to figure out where all the stud locations are on the roof itself. The neat thing is there's actually a rain channel along the edge of the box here. So what we're doing is we're actually bolting through this rain channel and it comes out the bottom. So we're not putting any penetrations through the inside of the box on the exterior of the solar panels. But when we do the inside of the solar panels, we obviously have to go through the roof, which is fine. We'll seal it up. I'm really not worried about that. But we need to be extremely, extremely precise with our measurements because each one of these corner brackets needs to sit right on a stud so that we could bolt through the stud. All right, so first order of business is taking our 3-inch corner brackets and going all down the side of the panel, making sure it all lines up properly so that we can bolt through it. So now the only other thing we need to watch for is making sure that the front and back of this panel is where we want it to be because we don't want it overhanging off the back of the truck. Alrighty guys, so we have our first bracket here. Second one's down there, third's at the back. You can see that they line up right along the edge of that channel. So we're happy with where it's at, front, back, and to the side over here. Alright, so now that the outside's done, Chrissy is going to be lining up the inside brackets along the studs. So here's the front of the solar panel. We have stud 1, corner bracket 1's lined up dead in the center. So we're going to mark the center of the solar panel here where my thumb is. Drill that out, and then we'll know it's lined up for the height of the solar panel. And then here's stud 2, corner bracket 2, same deal. Christina marked out where we're going to be doing our drill points so that we could attach the corner brackets to the panels. Now what I'm going to be doing is, as you can see, the corner brackets are taller than the solar panels. So I'm just marking it right, just basically below the top of the panel here. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go down there when we're drilling all the holes out. And I'm just going to grind the tops off so that it's flush with the solar panels and it'll look a lot better. Alright, so now that we have the panel down on the ground, we have it set up on the table. What I'm going to be doing is drilling out our mounting locations so that the corner brackets can be bolted to the solar panel. So we basically just have it right in the center, all along the panel. I'm using a smaller drill bit at first just to get the hole dialed, and then I'll step it up to the size needed so that we could fit our machine screws through the bolting locations. Definitely drilling at a slower rate for accuracy. I did not want the bit slipping through the side of the solar panel and somehow penetrating the glass of the panel, rendering it useless. Alright, so steps for mounting our hardware and corner bracket to the solar panel. We have our 1-inch machine screw. We have our flat washer. I have been putting a little bit of Loctite on it, just so when the nut's on, it's nice and tight, and it's not going to go anywhere. Take my corner bracket, slide everything through, and then the back side, what it's going to look like is once it's through the panel, we're going to slide flat washer on, lock washer next, and then nut on top. I'm going to be trimming the top of the brackets off now so that they sit flush with the solar panels at the top. I'm going to be using a grinder with a cutoff wheel. We're going to have some fun with sparks. Alright, now that the bracket's cut, I'm just going to file off the rough edges so that it's smooth and we don't cut ourselves. And back up the panel goes. Hopefully this will be the last time. Foreshadowing, it was not. Everything is mounted up to the solar panels. We have lined everything up to where we want everything secured. So it's time to clamp down and start drilling through the channels, and this way it won't move. It's so scary drilling these little channels out because you have to be so precise. If you're too far this way, it ain't gonna work. Too far back, you're gonna hit the box. So we've just been really taking our time to make sure the drill points are dialed. Same process as earlier, machine screw, flat washer on the underside, flat washer, lock washer, nut. Just doing it hand tight for now to hold everything in place. Alrighty, so we have this full exterior all mounted up. Just hand tight right now because we're gonna have to go to the other side. It's time for the inside, and this is where we're gonna be drilling through the bracket, through the roof of the box, through the studs, and it's gonna pop out inside the roof. Drilling through the inside of the roof is always a scary task, but the holes came out exactly where we had hoped, which was a big relief, and we also sprayed the holes so there wouldn't be any rust in the future. Now that we're drilled through the studs, we have our 2-inch machine screws. They're longer since they need to go through the studs. Same process, flat washer, and this time it's going up through the roof. And then Christina's gonna be up top and she's gonna tighten it down from up there. Alrighty, so welcome to day, I don't even know, of the roof. We're hoping today's the last day. It was a little bit of a chore getting the big panel up, but it's up. This is the first time having the air conditioner, the solar panel with all the rear stuff. Chrissy's up front where our front panel is gonna go, but we got the Nomadic Cooling 3000 right there. We have a few inches of space on both sides, which is our goal. We totally sped the fastening process of these big 490 watt panels up. The steps were exactly the same as with the small panels. Find the stud location, mark where the mounting holes need to go on the panel, drill through the panel, trim the L brackets to the height of the solar panel, and mount up all the hardware. And of course, we had to take a little break to play with our dogs. You can really see how beneficial it was by having the roof rack on the van to get these monster solar panels up. They were 60-ish pounds, so not overly heavy, but they were 90 inches long, so very awkward to carry around. But the mounting process was very smooth with these, as we had already done the 2 smaller panels. After like, what, a week and a half of doing this, our solar panels are up. The roof is officially installed. Everything that we need to. We have to do a few small things down the road, like eventually get Starlink up here and install like our roof gland, but the big things are done. It feels really good to accomplish like our first big complicated project. We spent so much time measuring all this. I mean, y'all can see there's maybe an inch on both sides of the air conditioner left, and that's the space we had working with, and we were just praying it was gonna work, and it all did. So high five. Feels good. Chrissy crushed it, and we'll see you guys next time.
Are you thinking of building your own van, but you're worried about how complicated the process is? The bad news is, it is quite complicated. The good news is, we have made a super detailed online course to help you go from this to this. You will learn how to do insulation, carpentry, solar systems, everything you need. We help you specify your electrical system, and you'll be able to access a community all building their own vans at the same time. It's never been easier to learn how to build your own van.